By this time, we are all now experts on identifying the fluoroanatomy, the drugs, and cervical has been done. So I'll be briefly talking about the lumbar blocks. That is a selective root blocks using the transforaminal route. So this is commonly we see all our OPD patients with low backache, and then many a times we find a disc, and then we try to tell them to get operated, and most of the times they say कि डॉक्टर साहब operation नहीं करानी है. So then we tend to give, because of the pain, then we go ahead with a blocks. That is one thing which we should have as neurosurgeons in the armamentarium, because giving blocks can relieve his pain as well, and then in future he might come back again with a pain recurrence, and then you can convince him, or he can get convinced with, if you say for surgery, he will go ahead, because that trust and then that rapport has been already built. So that is the reason that we are here, to learn all the kinds of blocks. And really, once again, thank you to Professor Dureja and Dr. Dhruv for taking through this. So we, as neurosurgeons, we know that the foramen is basically injecting the drug inside the foramen. That is, it is as close as possible to the root. The root exits through the foramen, and then putting the drug there, actually depositing there, gives more benefit. And this is the primary advantage of doing the transforaminal blocks. So the source of pain is taken care of. Like epidural, Dr. Dhruv was showing that it gives a diffuse spread, and then it takes care of multi-level. But in selective root blocks using the transforaminal, you can have a selective root which is involved. It can be used for a diagnostic purpose, because some patients will have pain, and then if you give an injection at one root and then the pain disappears, then that becomes more diagnostic. As well as many times it will be therapeutic depending upon the patient's wishes. So mainly radiculopathy, and even you can do it for foraminal stenosis, even post-laminectomy syndromes. Fail back, yes, we do use, and even radicular pain following post-traumatic and herpetic neuralgia. Even in deformity cases, we do have radiculopathy because of the disc height narrowing and then leading to the foraminal stenosis. So this is usually this is a teardrop shaped this thing which is visible on MRI, and then the height is somewhere around roughly 1.5 to 2.5 centimeters. The height of the foramina actually keeps increasing as you move down from the upper lumbar to the lower lumbar. So there is a progressive widening of these foramina. The exiting root, basically the superior part of the foramen. If you see MRI carefully in the parasagittal cuts, you have the root placed in the superior part of the foramen. So there have been there's something known as the safe zone. They say that we have different types of approaches where you can actually enter into the foramina. So the one, as neurosurgeons, we all know is a K-means triangle. So K-means triangle we are very well versed with. The superior articular facet, the superior end plate, and your exiting root forms this triangle. This is basically below the root. If you can see here, my cursor is not working. Probably, yes. So that is the K-means triangle. And there are the safe zone, which I was talking about, is the supraneural one. So this is the safe zone where we tend to do it. That is what has been described. You can do this K-means approach also. So basically the whole area is the root, the supraneural and the infraneural, as in the previous image. Here you can see that this is the superior to the root, and this is the inferior to the root. So the whole foramina is available for block, but K-means triangle is quite wider compared to the supraneural part. Supraneural part is called as a safe triangle, although the space below is more than that. And since many of us, I think almost 90% of them are neurosurgeons here, and we are well versed with, many of them might have been doing the endoscopic discectomy or transforaminal discectomy. It's easier to use this approach to give blocks. So the K-means triangle is less wider. As you go down to the L5S1, the root comes, the ganglion and the root comes inside the canal. So the infraneural triangle, which is the K-means triangle, it becomes a bit narrower. But in the rest of the above region, it is wider. Now, there are two basic techniques where we follow here. That is, one is the paramedian or the parasagittal approach, and the one is the far lateral. So, far lateral is basically the transforaminal which we use for the discectomy, where we go from lateral to laterally into the foramina. And the parasagittal approach, of course, it is just based on the fluoroanatomy Dr. Dhruv was showing in the morning, the Scotty dog and the oblique views with the images. So parasagittal approach is can be done in all the levels, and because far lateral is like we know because discectomy is difficult at L5S1, we have iliac crest there, and because of the iliac crest we have to have difficulty. So in that case, parasagittal approach is a elegant one. And now coming to the supraneural and the infraneural triangles, I already have told that this is a safe triangle. That is what the literature says. But yes, this is a quite wider. The Cambridge triangle is more wide than the safe triangle. So you can use both of them. Parasagittal approach, as I told, it's more useful for L5S1 because laterally you have the iliac crest. Position is prone, and then you confirm using C-arm. It's already been discussed. And then oblique view, that is a Scotty dog view. This is a classical Scotty dog from Scotland, and that is how it was described. This is also again has been described. You can see the face is formed by the transverse process. The transverse processes are here. The superior articular facet forms the ear. The pedicle forms the eye, and then below it is all the foramina. And the leg is formed by your the articular facet again, the inferior one, and this is the superior one. And then the tail, they say it's formed by the spinous process. Now, basically, this part, the neck, is the pars interarticularis. If you have a collared Scotty dog, it indicates that you have a fracture in the pars. That is basically the ischemic type of spondylolisthesis. So uncollared is normal. So everything will be discussed in the OR because we will be demonstrating. And again, this is a subpedicular approach, the supraneural approach, where you place your needle above in the superior part of the foramen, and you give a tip bend so that when you push it inside the foramina and based on your fluoroanatomy. So basically there is nothing like how much lateral to the midline, or it's based on the fluoroanatomy. You just have to orient your C-arm and then place the needle and then check the point of entry. So that is how you decide a point of entry, not like you have to go like 1 centimeter or 2 centimeter or 4 centimeter lateral. And you keep the bend at the tip because you know where the needle is. When you have to have an end-on view. Like you have the hub here and the tip here. So if you have an end-on view, you won't be able to see the tip where you are. So the bend gives you an idea that you are there. So again, these are again Scotty dog view, and you have to basically go below this neck. That is the whole area. You can use transcambine or you use the supraneural approach. This is basically to again make you more. The supraneural approach has issues. Basically, the radicular arteries at the higher level, it's a bit crumpled space, and then you might. It's very rare, although, but you can tend to injure these arteries and then even the nerve as well. So, because most of the times when you put the needle, sometimes if it hits the nerve, the patient jumps, and you know that you are there. The same technique. This is one of the cases, just for the sake of demonstration. Again, the Scotty dog, and then this is the root. This is at the L4, L5 level. This is the oblique view. You can see beautiful Scotty dog, which is here, and a very nice spread of dye along the L5 root. Similarly, here, this is for the S1. You can see the S1. So squaring, as Dr. Dhruv already demonstrated, the squaring should be perfect. The level which you are targeting, the vertebra should be squared. It should not be like oblique. So this is the S1 foramina. This is the end-on view. You can see you are not able to see the tip. The other side, we already done the block here. So this is one. Again, parasagittal approach. Now here you can see we have given the dye. When you see in the lateral view, there is a tram track. Basically, this indicates that the dye is ventral to the dura, and you can see one more dorsal to the dura. So that again it becomes non-selective now because it is moving up and down. But still, having that again has a good pain relief for patients with multi-level. So that can also be achieved because it moves up along the dural sleeves. So rest we will be discussing in the OR. And this is a parasitical approach, basically going from the lateral approach as we mark intraoperatively for the discectomy, endoscopic discectomy. That is how alpha S1 is difficult using the lateral approach. So this is how we mark, again, squaring of the vertebra. You take the true AP and then you mark your point laterally at the junction where the flank and the midline meet. So you take this point. One point, this is again, this is how you have to have a squaring, and then that has to be in the middle of the disc. And laterally, the marking point basically is like for the lower L2, L3, 4, 5, you need to have it at the level of the laminofacetal junction. Here at the upper level at L1, L2, you have to have your, this needle should be at here, like that, the spinous process tip. So basically, if you are more below than this level, which is visible on the lateral X-ray, then you tend to enter into the maybe retroperitoneum or peritoneum. So you have to have that. So that's it. I think we'll be discussing. These are certain contrast dyes you can see, which will be shown anyways. So these are the drugs already has been discussed with Professor Dureja. Complications, bleeding can happen, infection, nerve injuries, and dural puncture, headaches can happen. Yeah, and cause.
Drugs once again. Drugs or list.
So lignocaine for local, but bupivacaine and ropivacaine are commonly used, and then steroids you have methylpred, triamcinolone, already discussed. So level 1 evidence is for radicular pain secondary to a disc. Rest of them are like you will have some pain relief, but then we have the highest evidence for this. And infraneural approach has the highest safety profile and also good pain relief. So thank you very much for your kind attention.
Sir, in case of very significant foraminal stenosis in degenerative spine, how you negotiate that needle? Did you find any difficulty?
Yeah, it is definitely difficult because it discs
what image you showed is very normal anatomy.
Yes. So you do have foraminal stenosis, and then the space is quite narrow. But then still, there usually won't be a difficulty in putting the needle there
because in our Rajasthan there are a lot of fluorosis patients, so we found bone everywhere. So
I think Dr. Dureja can answer this.
Lateral resistance.
Fluorosis. Yeah, he's asking about fluorosis. Yeah.
No, sir, it is difficult. Here you have to use all your experience of so many years. But yes, very rarely you may have to abandon. You may not even enter the. But mostly, if you use your experience and try it with different methods, you may take.
oh, okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Dr. Dhruv.
One more thing, sir. In case that if you are not able to do a transforaminal approach and you have to abandon, it is better to do a caudal epidural or an interlaminar epidural and try to compensate it with volume so that the patient won't have the same effect like a transforaminal, but still you are able to help him with their symptoms. So whenever I always say, if you lack a precision, try to compensate it with volume. अगर आप स्नाइपर शॉट नहीं ले सकते हो तो असॉल्ट राइफल में धर धर मार दो, कुछ ना कुछ तो हो जाएगा,
नहीं तो तोप उड़ा दो.
तो सर्जरी हो जाती है.
Okay, so we move on maybe to the next one. No further questions. Thank you.